if you had a time machine, to which year in the past would you travel for one day? 1 million years ago. I would love to see what the world looked like before man interfered so much. I'd love to see what the landscape looked like before the easiest of the natural resources were plundered. How full of life our oceans were before we were stripping out every stage of the food chain. I bet the herds of animals, schools of fish, flocks of birds would have been astounding. I'd love to see how our ancestors lived in that stage of time. And I would be in complete awe of whatever animal decided to eat me that day. What are the time travel rules? 1. You can change events in the past. And you change the present future. The universe has changed and you can never return to your old present. 2. The universe had split into 2 timelines. Maybe you can get home, maybe not. B. Changes you make do not become evident in the present or future. 2. You cannot change events in the past. Dude, I'd probably dial it back to the 70s, you know? The music scene was epic, the fashion was wild, and the vibe just seemed groovy. It's like a one-day backstage pass to the era of classic rock and disco. Plus, I'd love to witness those legendary concerts that people still talk about. Time traveling to the 70s? Sign me up! Well, as a millennial I've lived through some pretty mind-bending changes. Going from VCRs to streaming was a pretty intense shift. I suppose I'd like to witness the very moment in history that sparked it all, the day that consciousness became, that we became. I want to know who took us from non-sentience to internet port, about 260 million years ago, in the Permian. I love that we have so much knowledge about the past, but there's things that you just can't recreate. I'd love to smell what the past smells like, to hear the sounds of a past era. In short, I want to feel it, probably 20 years ago, to see my parents young and happy and alive. Before Dad fell sick, before he lost his energy, when he could still travel. Also to tell my dumb ass not to marry that woman who'd go on to destroy my life for the next decade. 1998. Y2K fever is rampant and the tech industry is on fire. The internet is still cool and hasn't been ruined by big corporations yet. You can take your pick of what tech stocks to buy and be a multimillionaire in a few years. That would be the year 536 in Europe, also called the worst year in known human history. It would make me feel at least a bit better about my life, so that's cool. 1986, tell my dad invest everything in Microsoft, Google and Amazon and give me 1,000 shares of each for my first birthday 4 years from then. I think I'd be set by 2010 to have a couple million Bitcoin to F around with lol. 1956, to meet my grandpa. He died well before I was born and he was the only grandparent I never met. As for the year, I settled on it because that's when he was my age. The 50s were also an interesting time. Veyde, May 8th, Paris. My father was there. I have a letter written by him to his mother, alluding to the debauchery that took place as Parisians celebrated the Allied victory. Talk about a fun time! Assuming I want to use it to change things in my personal life, like preventing my mom from dying, I would go back to medieval ages. I'm fascinated by the ages of knights and kingdoms. Saturday 3rd of August, 2023. So I could see Nightwish live at Wacken. Everything I've seen from that show looks phenomenal, would love to have been able to see it live. To last Friday. Jen from HR told me there were several complaints from people saying that I have BO. I just said sorry, but I still wanna go back and say no you. Anyone got a good idea on what would be a good date to convince Napoleon that Russia needed more time and resources? I picked that date. No particular reason. The day of the Sandy Hook massacre and I would kill the perp by running him over in an EV. This should send gun sales down and EV sales through the roof. September 10, 2001 to warn the president about the oncoming danger. To which he'd reply thanks for reminding me it's tomorrow. May 7, 2022, so all my currency would be valid. Place a shit ton on Rich Strike to win the Kentucky Derby at 81. Sometime in the summer of 2013. I'd get myself to drop money on Bitcoin and hang out with some friends on Twitter between 1723 to 1750, so I could hear Meet J.S. Bach and hear his music performed live and exactly as he intended. Pompeii the day before Vesuvius erupted. It would feel so great to save Kit Harington from sudden destruction. June 28, 2009 or maybe a few days before so that I could attend Stephen Hawking's time travel party sometime in the summer of 1996 or 1997. When things were okay for me. Just to feel that one last time. Oh man, sure, it's July 18, 2010, when Bitcoin's lowest price was 5 cents. Who's up for the journey? What's with the unusual drastic increase of upvotes in this post? Was it even necessary? June 1st, 1992, where I tell myself not to drink that first beer, and not to drink ever. Probably 2007, spend some more time with my grandfather and take him to a Red Sox game. 1985, hit up Toys R Us, and buy back as many of my childhood toys as I can. Sometime in 1989. Can't remember the exact date, but it was definitely 89. 1980s. Big hair, neon fashion, iconic music, and the birth of video games. I will go back to May Day in London and enjoy celebrating the end of World War II. April 1998, when my grandfather sold 1,000 shares of MRF for just 5,000. I will travel on February 5th, 2023 to try to prevent my father's death. The year I was born, just to witness the happiness of my parents. The year when my grandma is alive because I miss her so much, crying face. The year when my grandma alive, because I miss her so much. 70 million BCM with an off-terrain game drive vehicle.